Hi, I'm Jonathan Ayers. This is Psychology of Improvising. We're now on our middle section of this fabulous fugue subject by Johann Sebastian Bach. The original statement of the subject, of course, is in C minor. And in the previous video, we dealt with the fugal exposition, which means we bring in the subject at the tonic in C minor, but also at the dominant as the answer. In this section of the fugue, it's what I call the development section, which follows from the exposition. This is where we start to develop the theme. We take it to other keys. And I'm going to stick to closely related keys to the tonic of C minor. Now, what I like to do at this stage is basically make a map of this section, a map of the terrain, I call it. So starting with our fugue subject at the dominant, the true fifth. Just put another stop on that so it's a bit clearer. Now, if you remember in the exposition, what Bach actually gave us an answer which is slightly different. The answer came at the dominant, but instead of having a fifth, had a fourth, which, as I explained before, is very typical of the Baroque and Renaissance because they like to stay within the octave. They don't like to get out of the octave and introduce new harmonies. Now we have an opportunity at the beginning of the development section to begin with this true fifth, which gives a kind of fresh feeling to the subject, which is what we need at this stage. A feeling of freshness and new departure as we go off into other keys. Now, as I said, I like to make a map of this terrain because development sections I find can be a bit overwhelming. There are so many things to do. We have to keep track of our subject. We have to go off into other keys. We have to keep all this contrapuntal texture going. So how do we do this? First of all, I like to write down the subject in the closely related keys. Now, if we have the tonic at C minor, the relative major gives a really nice variety to the subject, and that'll be upper third in E flat. But also the dominant of E flat is in B flat major. Now, it doesn't matter which order those keys come in, the way we can take our chances with that, but we have this opportunity of a beautiful coming out of the dark C minor into these bright and comforting relative major keys. The other one that I would stick to at this stage is the subdominant, which is F minor, very closely related to C minor. But with a distinctive D flat in the key signature, and that D flat you'll see will help us to get into F minor. So what I'm going to do now is go through the development section and separate this complicated task into hopefully manageable bite-sized chunks. So we start with the dominant, and I'll make a statement of the theme harmonized in, with other voices, 2 or 3 voices, up to 4 voices, doesn't matter. At the end of that statement, I think, okay, right, now we need to make linking passage, which goes through keys, usually on a cycle of fifths, and then when we get to something near the relative key, then I make a cadence in that key and bring in the theme, the fugue subject in that key. So at that point, I don't have to worry about modulations. I'm in the key, I make a clear statement of the theme, and then I go on bridge passages, linking passages towards my next key, make a cadence in that key, so it's clear, and then make a statement of the theme in that key. And let's see how that goes. So starting with the statement of the fugue subject with a true fifth at the dominant. off I go in my linking passages. Straight away into major kind of keys. B flat, E flat. Cancel the A flat to make an A natural. So I'm heading towards B flat, I'll make a cadence in B flat. There's my cadence in B flat. And now I'm going to make a statement of the theme in B flat. And I find that with this B flat, that serves as an immediate link to a statement of the theme in the true relative major of E flat. Now off I go in my linking passages. Heading for minor keys now. C minor. Now I need to come out of C minor, I'm passing through C minor towards the subdominant, which means I need to introduce a D flat. Now let's make a cadence in F minor. Good, there we have it. So it's not, of course, like a really fluent or inspiring fugue, but it's a first step in making a development section of the fugue, having followed the exposition. So the exposition, we brought in the theme, subject, answer, we got to this development section, and now we've basically mapped out our terrain in various different keys and brought in the subject in different registers in the different keys. And that's the main task of the development section at this stage.